If you've ever felt that sudden bone-deep chill, sharp instinct gripping your chest warning you that something's terribly wrong, listen to it. Don't ignore it like I once did. The last time I felt that unmistakable pull in my gut, it shattered everything I believed about my marriage. That single night unspooled the entire thread of my life, leaving me in a place I never imagined I'd stand. Let me take you back to the evening where it all began to crumble. Her name was Clara, and what started it all was a simple, desperate plea. One that still echoes in my mind like a bitter aftertaste. "Could you please just stay in tonight?" I asked her softly. My voice weighed with unease I couldn't explain. Clara didn't even look up from the mirror where she was fixing her lipstick. She let out a dry laugh, that condescending little chuckle she'd perfected over time. "Oh, come on, Marcus," she scoffed, her tone dripping with dismissal. "You're being ridiculous again. You always get like this." She grabbed her purse, her keys already in hand, and breezed past me. Outside, the impatient honk of her friend's car pierced the night air. The scent of her perfume lingered, floral and sharp, taunting. She was gone before I could say another word. But that night was different. Her empty reassurances didn't soothe me like they used to. Somewhere deep in my chest, something twisted, a knot pulling tighter, warning me that this wasn't just another night out. It was the beginning of the end. The hours dragged every minute, gnawing at my sanity. I tried everything, mindlessly scrolling through my phone, flipping through TV channels I wasn't watching, even pacing the house like a trapped animal. Midnight came and went, nothing. 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I sent her a text. "Are you all right?" No reply? My chest tightened as my thoughts spiraled. I thought back over the last few months, how often she'd stayed out late. The cryptic text messages she'd shielded from view, the sudden bursts of laughter at private jokes I was no longer included in. There were nights she came home reeking of a cologne I didn't recognize. Her hair tousled and her eyes distant. Every time I confronted her, she'd dodge it. "You're paranoid. I just need space. You're suffocating me." But all I'd ever wanted was to hold on to the woman I could feel slipping through my fingers. By 3 a.m., something in me broke. It wasn't rage. It was clarity. Cold, calm clarity. I stood up, walked to the bedroom closet, pulled out her clothes, her dresses, her heels, those scarves she loved. Piece by piece, I folded everything neatly and placed them by the front door. Jewelry, too. Every little piece of her. I wasn't acting out of spite. It was methodical, fetty, purposeful. Finally, after months of ignoring my instincts, I was listening to them. Around 4 a.m., I heard the door creak open. She stumbled inside, giggling to herself, her shoes dangling from her fingers. Her makeup was smudged, her hair tangled from wherever she'd been. She froze when she saw her belongings stacked by the door. Her drunken smile dissolved instantly. "Marcus, what is this?" she asked, her voice trembling, still slurred from whatever she'd been drinking. I looked her dead in the eyes and said with unnerving calm, "You're not staying here tonight or ever again." She gaped at me, stunned into silence. When she finally found her words, they were frantic, sloppy apologies, desperate bargaining. Promises I'd heard too many times before, but I was past that point. I didn't shout. I didn't accuse. I simply said, "Call someone. Get a cab. You're leaving." She cried. She begged. She tried to claw her way back in, but I wouldn't budge. That morning, just after the sun began to rise, I changed every lock on the house. I didn't sleep. But as the sky turned from night to dawn, I felt something unexpected. Relief. Later that same day, I filed for divorce. When asked what I wanted in the settlement, I told the lawyer plainly, "Give her what's fair. A house, car, half my savings. I don't care because none of it mattered anymore. I didn't want the house we'd built on lies. I didn't want the car she'd used for her midnight disappearances. I didn't want anything but my freedom." At first, the silence of the empty house was crushing. The absence of her presence left a hollow ache that seemed to echo through every room. But slowly, something unexpected happened. That silence became soothing. I started sleeping through the night again. I picked up old hobbies, things I hadn't done in years. I called friends I'd let drift away. I walked for miles just to feel the wind against my face. I read books that once sat untouched on the shelf. I cooked meals just for myself, and the quiet didn't feel lonely anymore. It felt like peace. Months passed. One evening, I ran into a mutual friend who casually mentioned he'd seen Clara at a bar, clinging to some new guy. He asked if I wanted to hear the details. Just laughed, shook my head.
No need,
I said, grinning for the first time in a long time. She's not my concern anymore. And in that moment, I knew, truly knew, I was free. Looking back, I wish I'd listened to that voice inside me sooner. I wish I'd understood that sometimes the hardest thing to do, walking away, is also the bravest. That night, when I begged her to stay, I wasn't pleading with her. I was begging myself, begging to stop suffering, to stop pretending, stop surrendering myself to someone who'd already left long before. If you ever feel that cold, unmistakable knot in your stomach, don't ignore it. Don't wait for everything to collapse before you act. Sometimes the most courageous thing you'll ever do is listen to your instincts and walk away. Because that night, the night I finally let go, turned out to be the first night of the life I should have been living all along.